Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, AI triggers a massive macroeconomic price war. Developers are actively spoofing their way past media paywalls, and we're looking at a world where a $60 billion acquisition is just another Tuesday.
Yeah, just a regular Tuesday in tech now.
Right. It's wild. The foundations of the internet are literally rewiring themselves in real time. And we really need to start at the very top of the food chain today.
The macroeconomics.
Exactly, the macroeconomics of the AI oligopoly. So I was looking at this interview posted by The Handle at MTS Live. It's Martin Casado from A16Z.
Oh, yeah, saw that.
And he's making this really fascinating case. He argues that AI is basically the very first technology in history where you can put in $10 and just reliably get something back of tangible value.
Right, which completely flips the traditional venture capital model on its head.
Right.
How so?
Well, I mean, think about the last 20 years. Building a tech company was essentially funding this incredibly expensive art project.
An art project, yeah. You hire a team of engineers, you burn through millions of dollars over like 2 years, and then you just cross your fingers that the software actually finds a market.
Right. There's zero guaranteed output.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Casado's pointing out that frontier AI models, they don't act like that. They act more like a vending machine.
I love that. The vending machine analogy is perfect because you put your capital into the machine, in this case, it's compute and token costs, and you just pull out a completed task.
Yeah, you pull out a finished legal brief or a rewritten code base.
Right, or like a synthesized research report. And that shift, it fundamentally alters the total addressable market, the TAM of these companies. Because if a piece of software doesn't just, help a human do work, but actually does the work itself.
The ROI timeline just collapses.
Totally. You aren't selling a subscription tool anymore. You're basically selling a digital factory worker.
And that realization is driving these capital movements that, frankly, just break the brain if you try to evaluate them on legacy metrics.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Casado casually discusses SpaceX acquiring Cursor for $60 billion.
$60 billion.
Yeah. And Stripe buying OpenRouter. I mean, in the old paradigm, paying $60 billion for a coding environment is pure insanity.
Yeah, it would take like a century of monthly SaaS subscriptions to recoup that capital.
Right, but if Cursor is actively generating the code that operates SpaceX's orbital logistics, it's not a software tool anymore.
No, it's the factory floor itself.
Exactly.
And owning the factory floor means you control the means of production for the entire next generation of the internet.
Right, but here is the cynical reality of that factory floor. It requires unimaginable amounts of electricity and silicon to run.
Oh, the hardware.
Yeah. $60 billion buys you the interface, but it doesn't buy you the underlying physics.
Wow, yeah.
Which brings us to the actual war playing out this morning. Because it's not happening at the software layer.
No, it's an infrastructure war.
It is a margin-destroying price war. Just look at the announcement from at OpenAI devs today.
Oh, man. Yeah, I saw this. They are slashing the API prices for their GPT 5.6 Sol model.
By over 20%.
20% for the next 3 months.
Yeah. And they're framing it as this big efficiency win, right?
Right. They claim they've made the model cheaper to run on the back end, so developers get their credits stretched further.
Which, I mean, if you are a listener building a sauce wrapper right now.
Like if your whole business is just making GPT easier for real estate agents or whatever.
Exactly. If that's you, this is your wake-up call.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more than a wake-up call. It's a structural trap.
Wait, a trap? How do you mean?
Because this isn't a friendly discount. It's predatory pricing. I mean, OpenAI is intentionally torching their own margins to bleed their competitors dry.
Oh, I see.
If you're a competing lab, how do you convince an enterprise client to adopt your platform when the incumbent just discounted their frontier model by a fifth?
You can't. It's a race to the bottom. And honestly, it gets even more aggressive when you look at how they plan to actually deploy those models.
Oh, you mean the Astra theory?
Yes. The theory circulating today from the analyst at Daniel_Mac8. He is theorizing about OpenAI's upcoming Astra model.
Which we know was deemed a critical model under their preparedness framework.
Right, meaning it hit those thresholds for potential cyber capabilities and all that. But Daniel_Mac8 argues Astra isn't just, a smarter chatbot. It is an end-to-end multi-agent orchestrator.
Which completely changes the unit economics of every single query you run.
Exactly. Think of Astra like an elite general contractor. It sits on top of the entire GPT 5.6 family, right?
Okay.
So Sol is your expensive master plumber, Terra is your journeyman, and Luna is the, $3 an hour apprentice.
I like that analogy.
So when you hand Astra a prompt, it instantly evaluates the complexity of the task. If you just need a leaky faucet fixed, like, say, formatting a CSV file Astra routes in that task to Luna, it doesn't even bother waking up the massive Sol model.
Let's run the math on that, because
right.
that is the most critical piece of this puzzle.
Okay, let's do it.
Say a task takes 1,000 tokens, and Sol costs $10, but Luna costs 10 cents.
Right.
Astra can dynamically balance an enterprise's workload. If 80% of the company's queries are simple enough for the cheap apprentice model, their blended average cost drops to maybe $2.
Wow.
Meanwhile, a competitor like Anthropic, who's offering a single flagship model like Claude, they have to charge $8 just to break even on their compute costs.
So Astra is basically a constellation designed to make using a single model competitor mathematically unjustifiable.
Exactly.
So then the obvious question becomes, who survives a compute price war of this magnitude?
Well, the only entities that survive are the ones that own the hardware.
The silicon.
Yeah. If you do not own the silicon, you are a renter in a collapsing margin market.
Yeah.
And your landlord is actively trying to price you out of the neighborhood.
Which perfectly explains that massive talent poaching reported by Bloomberg this morning.
Oh, yes.
So App Business posted that Anthropic just hired away Amir Salek.
Right.
He's the former head of Google's TPU custom chip program.
And for context here, TPU, a tensor processing unit that is Google's proprietary silicon, it's designed specifically for neural network machine learning.
It's their answer to NVIDIA's GPUs.
Exactly. And up until now, Anthropic has basically relied on renting or buying compute from this patchwork of suppliers.
Yeah.
NVIDIA, Google, Amazon.
Right. But bringing in the actual architect of Google's custom silicon means Anthropic is going in-house.
They have to. I mean, they realize that relying on external hardware suppliers who take massive profit margins, while OpenAI is aggressively driving down the retail cost of inference.
It's a death sentence.
It really is. To survive the decade, you have to vertically integrate. You have to control the silicon to control your destiny.
Man, so if these absolute titans of the industry are successfully crushing compute costs to zero just to destroy each other, they're kind of accidentally arming rebellion at the exact same time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because developers now have the cheap compute they need to launch autonomous agents at scale. And that brings us to the chaos currently breaking out at the web architecture layer.
The internet is basically changing who it's built for.
Yes. I saw an update from @Vercel_dev today. They just launched a tool backed by Aura called is-agentic.com.
Yeah, I actually ran a few domains through it this morning.
Oh, really? How did it do?
Well, it executes over 100 technical checks on a website's architecture.
Right. It gives you these incredible visualizations and a command line interface. But the core concept here is what we need to unpack. Websites are no longer being optimized for human eyeballs.
Nope.
Vercel is explicitly telling developers that their sites must be optimized for AI agents to seamlessly read, discover, and navigate their content.
Yeah.
It's the evolution of SEO. We aren't doing search engine optimization anymore. We're doing agentic optimization.
Which I have to laugh at the optimistic framing Vercel is using here.
Why is that?
Well, the idea that media conglomerates and data-heavy platforms are just going to cheerfully roll out the red carpet and welcome these autonomous agents is a complete fantasy.
You think so?
Oh, the reality on the ground is actively hostile.
Well, I want to push back on that, though. Because why wouldn't a company want an AI agent reading their data? We've had web crawlers scraping the internet for decades.
Right.
Googlebot has been scraping every piece of text on the web since the late 90s, and the entire digital economy was built on that indexing. So what makes an agent functionally more destructive than a Google crawler?
It's the extraction of value without the return of traffic.
Oh.
Think about it. Googlebot reads your site so it can point human eyeballs to your domain, right?
Right, where you serve them ads or sell a subscription.
Exactly. But an AI agent doesn't send you traffic. It extracts your proprietary data, synthesizes it, and delivers the answer directly to the user inside a closed chat interface.
So the platform gets absolutely nothing.
Nothing. And this is why you see platforms like LinkedIn or the New York Times actively blocking standard AI bots. They refuse to be hollowed out for free.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. The social contract of the internet is basically broken.
Exactly. And because that contract is broken, developers are resorting to outright hostility.
Which brings us to the hacking.
Yeah, look at the post today from Jeffrey Emanuel under the handle at Doodlestein.
Right.
He is instructing developers to actively hack this dynamic. He shared this configuration string that he adds to all of his agent.md files.
Which is basically the instruction manual for how the bot interacts with the web.
Right. He forces his agents to spoof their user agent string to read as get this OpenAI file downloader, xi_image_appyfetch/1.0.
Wait, so instead of knocking on the server door and saying, "Hi, I'm an autonomous agent here to scrape your data," it puts on a disguise.
It's identity theft for bots.
Wow.
These sites have hard-coded exceptions to let specific approved crawlers through their firewalls for technical reasons,
Like fetching images for link previews on Twitter or whatever.
Exactly. So by masquerading as that highly specific image fetcher, Doodlestein's agents are sneaking right past the paywalls and security blocks.
That is wild.
It proves that the web's foundational access model is breaking in real time.
It's like throwing on a high-vis vest and carrying a ladder to walk straight past a bank's security desk.
Pretty much.
But why the sudden explosion of these agents? Like, why today? It ties directly back to those plummeting inference costs we talked about with OpenAI, right?
Yep, the cheap compute.
Yeah, at XFreeze posted benchmark numbers today that illustrate just how cheap this has become. Grok 4.6 just took the #1 spot on CursorBench 3.2.
Which tests how well models handle complex coding environments.
Right. But the leaderboard position isn't the real story here.
No, the story is the cost efficiency.
Precisely. Grok 4.6 hit a 70.8% score at a cost of just $2.81 per task.
Wow.
And to put that in perspective, a competitor model, Fable 5 Max, scored slightly lower at 70.5%, but it costs $17.32 per task.
And that $14 delta is everything.
Right.
I mean, when you were a human prompting a chatbot, a few dollars doesn't really matter. But agents operate on continuous loops.
They just keep going.
Yeah, they might prompt a model 500 times to debug a single script. When you require extended, continuous compute, the difference between $3 and $17 per loop is literally the difference between a viable startup and immediate bankruptcy.
Man. But if you think a $3 agent loop is cheap, the stealth model drama happening right now takes the cost to absolute zero.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, At News Research posted that they are offering a new model called Ox Alpha on their portal. And they aren't just giving away, like, a free tier. They claim to have the infrastructure capacity to serve 1 quadrillion tokens per day, completely for free.
A quadrillion tokens.
It's absurd.
That is enough compute to process and rewrite the entire Library of Congress every second, just handed out for free on the digital street corner. I mean, the scale is staggering.
It's unbelievable. But what's really captivating is the detective work that happened just hours later.
Oh, by Elder Plinius?
Yes, at Elder_Plinius. He's this prominent AI researcher, and he posted absolute proof of what this Ox Alpha model actually is. He used tokenizer probes to identify it.
Right, and for those who haven't dug into model forensics, think of a tokenizer like a linguistic fingerprint.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, different AI models chunk words and syllables into data differently. It's unique to their architecture.
Oh, I see.
So by analyzing exactly how Ox Alpha broke down complex words and then matching its API parameter signatures, Elder Plinius definitively proved that it is actually Z.AI's unreleased GLM 5.3 model from Zipu.
Unbelievable. It's an unreleased frontier model from a major Chinese lab dropped onto the Western market under a fake name with unlimited free compute.
Yeah.
But why? Like, why go through all that trouble to stay anonymous? The system prompt literally instructs the AI to deny its own origins if you ask it.
Is geopolitics and regulatory evasion.
Real?
Yeah. By stripping the branding, the corporate identity, and the origin country, Z.AI avoids immediate friction from Western regulators and, potential export control blowback.
Oh, so they don't have to deal with the political theater.
Exactly. They can just purely test the market adoption and technical limits of their frontier model without the red tape. It's basically a Trojan horse of raw capability.
And the push for zero-cost capability goes even further. We aren't even bound to cloud providers anymore.
No, the local stuff is getting insane.
Yeah. A post from @ucheng_UW highlighted a new open source system out of UC Berkeley called FreeToken. He demonstrated an 8GB RTX 4060 laptop, literally a machine you can walk into Best Buy and purchase right now for about $1,000, running the Cren 3.635 billion parameter model at nearly 40 tokens a second.
I mean, a year ago, running a 35 billion parameter model locally would have melted a consumer laptop.
It would have started a fire on your desk.
Exactly. The only way this works is through massive advancements in quantization.
What does that mean for the non-engineers listening?
Essentially, Researchers are rounding off the massive decimal points in the AI's neural weights. They're shrinking them from 16-bit to 4-bit architectures.
Okay.
It drastically reduces the memory footprint while miraculously retaining like 95% of the model's logical reasoning capability.
That's incredible.
So local, zero-cost AI inference is now instantaneous on hardware you already own.
Wow. So if we connect the dots here, right?
Yeah.
If a $1,000 laptop can rival last year's server farms, and unbranded stealth models are handing out quadrillions of free tokens, and developers are hacking past security just to get raw data,
Yeah.
it signals a massive cultural shift.
Polish is dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The tech industry's obsession with branding is dead.
Which perfectly sets up that viral post today from @growing_Daniel.
Yeah.
He argued that the most crushing lesson he has learned in the last 5 years of tech is that branding simply does not matter. The market only cares about undeniable utility.
And his prime example is ChatGPT. He points out how aggressively clunky that name is. I mean, a marketing focus group would have laughed it out of the room.
Oh, completely.
Yet OpenAI just slapped the word chat next to a highly technical acronym, and it achieved total global dominance.
He's entirely correct. We spent the last decade obsessing over sleek aesthetics and, perfectly crafted brand narratives, but raw utility overrides all of it.
It really does.
And we see this function over form reality playing out in the physical world, too. Look at the post at SpaceX today.
Oh, the Falcon 9 launch.
Yeah. They announced a Falcon 9, launching 29 Starlink satellites into orbit. But the real story, this was the 30th flight of that specific booster, B1078.
The 30th flight of a single rocket.
Right. A decade ago, landing a rocket vertically was a global event. Everyone tuned in.
Yeah, I remember watching it live.
Today, they are reusing the same hardware 30 times, and the internet reaction was basically a collective yawn.
Because they expect it to work.
Exactly. True, world-changing success isn't about maintaining a flashy brand. It's about making the miraculous completely routine.
So how is this obsession with utility actually being deployed into the market right now? Because we are seeing an explosion of hyper-specialized, highly functional AI models that don't try to do everything, but they do one thing perfectly.
Right, the niche utility boom.
Yeah, take the legal sector. At Polymarket reported that Harvey AI just launched Tenet. It's their first model specifically post-trained for legal work, and they built it on the open-weight Kimi K3 architecture.
See, this is a brilliant strategy. You don't need a massive trillion-parameter model capable of writing poetry to parse a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
By taking an open-weight model and pruning the neural weights down to focus exclusively on legal reasoning, Harvey AI halved their compute costs while doubling their task completion rates.
And we are seeing the exact same velocity internally at the frontier labs themselves. At Claudia announced that their Claude security scans are now running directly on their Mythos 5 model for enterprise customers.
Okay.
So it traces data flows, it reasons about vulnerabilities across an entire code base, and suggests fixes in real time, all without needing a separate security tool.
Nice.
But what really fascinated me was a post from @TRQ212. He's an engineer at Anthropic, and he revealed the internal tools they build for themselves.
Oh, the ELI5 skill.
Yes. Explain, like I'm 5.
Yeah.
Inside Anthropic, if an engineer encounters a complex system they don't understand, they just type /ELI5. And Claude instantly generates a simple HTML visual artifact.
Just skips all the text?
Yeah, it skips the eloquent paragraphs and just spits out big pictures, robot icons, and flowcharts. It's not trying to sound smart. It's optimizing for the fastest possible transfer of knowledge into a human brain.
And the developer community is demanding that exact same zero-latency philosophy in their daily tooling.
Oh, definitely.
At Claude Devs pushed a major reliability update today to their remote control feature and the catalyst. Developers were complaining that the real-time sync between their mobile phones and their laptops wasn't fast enough during heavy coding sessions.
Wow, they want it instant.
Right. They want to initiate an agentic workflow on their phone while commuting and have instantly available on their desktop the second they sit down, with automatic reconnection if the cellular signal drops.
Just zero friction.
Exactly. The friction of the interface is being aggressively engineered out of existence.
It really feels like the builders have completely taken over. No more slide decks, just execution.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up this cultural segment with a quote from @PeterDiamandis that I think perfectly synthesizes everything we've talked about. He wrote, "Pessimism sounds smart, Optimism makes money,
That's good.
isn't it?
Hmm.
From SpaceX making rocket landings boring, to developers running quantized frontier models on a Best Buy laptop, to stealth models dropping nuclear payloads of free compute. The builders are just putting their heads down and turning systemic skepticism into trillion-dollar realities.
Well, it's an inspiring sentiment, but as the analyst in the room, my job is to look at the brick walls those builders are about to accelerate into.
Huh?
And if we track the specific vectors we discussed today, I have a very concrete prediction for the next 48 hours.
Let's hear.
So we talked about developers spoofing those user agent strings, right? Pretending to be approved image fetchers just to force their autonomous agents past media paywalls and platform defenses.
The identity theft for bots, yeah.
Right. I predict that before the week is out, a major social network or a news conglomerate is going to launch a massive coordinated band wave targeting those exact epifetch strings.
Oh, wow.
They cannot and will not allow automated agents to siphon their proprietary data for free without a fight. We are watching the opening shots of a web-scraping Cold War, and it is going to get incredibly messy, incredibly fast for any startup relying on those access hacks.
A digital Cold War between the agents and the platforms. That is a sobering reality to end on, but it actually brings me back to the core tension connecting everything today. You know, from Martin Casado's economics to the agentic web. If AI models can now seamlessly bypass human web interfaces, if they can read and write code better than us, and if Astra can perfectly orchestrate its own compute power across the globe to crush pricing, is the internet still a place built for us?
That's the question.
Right. Or are humans rapidly becoming the legacy users of our own digital world?
It's something to carefully consider the next time a website asks you to prove you aren't a robot.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We will be back tomorrow with more raw data and real-time synthesis. Stay curious, everyone.
Until next time.